But no, I think you did good, and it's a very interesting.
That's what I've heard, but you mentioned a lot of people, I get that all the time at book signings, like, I don't read history books. And a lot of people like, I don't read at all. I got a friend of mine that's an electrician, and he raises beef cattle too. He hasn't read a book since high school. He has no time to read. He's working constantly. But his wife snapped a picture of him sitting at the kitchen island one night till midnight. He's like, I can't put this down. And it's like, so I think it's touched, and I don't mean to be brag, but it's really, it's touched a nerve with people. And I think it's a very relatable book.
Well, I think it's interesting how you said that, you didn't want to tell your story.
No, I didn't.
But then you relate back to Gene didn't want to tell his story. And why he all of a sudden did, and why you all of a sudden did, but it's something that was needed for people.
Yeah, Gene he was 85 when we started working on this, so I think he's thought, okay, maybe I owe this to my children, my grandchildren, to even his veteran guys on that aircraft. It's amazing how the time, it's been 70 years, yet you could tell he really missed those guys.
Right.
And that their deaths, those were difficult to talk about. And it's like, oh my God, it's like time stood still. So, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, whether losing someone in war or losing a family member, a good friend. So it's a story about loss and resilience. So.
It's just what he's been through. I mean, I can't imagine.
There's much more we could have talked about. That's always a problem. When I get talking in interviews, I got to remind myself not to go off into a tangent, because there's so many other ways he could have died and faced death.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy. And he was kind of a rebel, too, as a kid, because his sister's still alive, and I talked to her. And I said, he had more lives than a cat. She's like, he had half those spent before he went to war. He was always in fights or crashing a vehicle or something. He was that character his entire life. But his service to his community and country, a volunteer fire chief for many, many years, started the first EMT squad in his hometown, was on the county board, did charities. He was and coached baseball for many years. It was just the constant service to their communities. And, he sold the home where he raised his kids, and then his life was in a mobile home then. That's where I got the story. So I'm thinking one of the most remarkable stories of World War II. A guy that gave so much to his country. We're doing the work in a little mobile home.
Yeah.
Very humble. So.
And who was only supposed to live for 10 years and not get married and has 9 children.
Yep. They did some psychiatric evaluations when he came home, and they're like, dude, you're a mess. You don't just give what God gives you, take what God gives you, and be happy, but you should not be starting a family.
But God had different plans for him.
He did, so.
And that, touched my heart when he grabbed that rosary and it's just like.
Yeah, I'm Catholic too, and so the old school traditional Catholics, you didn't miss Sunday Mass. And,
right.
But as teenagers, we're like, church,
Yeah.
So, but his grandma gave him the rosary and said, you take this for a good luck charm, and he pulled it out and just started doing the Hail Marys as he's going down, and just relaxed. And I remember when I was there was a German television crew that covered the story of us visiting there, and they asked, "Can you explain? You're the author. Can you explain how he lived?" And I looked at the trees and the marshy forest around me. I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
There's no, I said, I can't. He never explained it to me. He crawled out of the wreckage. I can't explain it. There's just no explanation for why he lived. And that we'll just have to leave as a mystery.
And why that pilot or the other aircraft that was telling him.
Yeah, it's interesting because it gives you in this book, you're going to see some of the most, you hear obviously the Nazi regime was horribly cruel. And you're going to meet some of the worst characters in humanity in this book. You're also going to meet some pretty nice people that were German. And it gives you a different perspective of who the enemy was. Because that one German pilot gave him a chance to get out.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. So, but.
Wow.
Yeah, it's, My editor says, I think you have a book that's going to last for a while, that people will be reading and talking about, because it's just a lot of universal things. So, but anyway, so thank you very much, Peggy Sue. Yeah.
Thank you.